Let's learn about engagement. I am going to go back in here. I think there was one cluster of questions right before I asked my question here. Let's see. What are some of the ways internal Agile coaches can align stakeholders from different teams during change management? Many times bringing everyone to the same page is a challenge. Any exercises or practices that proves beneficial? We can absolutely talk about this. Thank you, Aradhana. I hope I didn't mess up your name. If I did, fix me. Tell me how to pronounce it. So, back to the jungle of the presentation. So, one question that I'm asked all the time is, what are your favorite tools? What platforms should we use? What is the best engagement tool, best collaboration tool? And I'm nervous that people are getting lost in the tools. Your mindset is actually infinitely more important. If the facilitator is hating life because it's all virtual, guess what? The attendees are going to be hating life as well, 10 times so, right? A much more helpful perspective is, hey, this is a massive experiment. How can we make it better? How can we make it creative? How can we make it playful, right? So, but if you do want to talk about tools, we can talk about tools for a second. So you will need a platform to meet on. You will need a platform to collaborate with, and you will need a voting and engagement tool, right? All of those have their strengths. All of those have their weaknesses. I have a weakness for Zoom. I have a weakness for Poll Everywhere. For collaboration, I use various things. I do think that Zoom whiteboarding is fantastic and underutilized. Most people don't even know where it is and how to use it. Virtual facilitation tips and techniques. Check in with your people. How are they doing, right? Don't presume that they're okay and engaged. Check, ask them. Notice the body language. If there is no body language because everybody is on video, that's already a clue. Ensure that everybody is comfortable with the tech solutions you're using, right? Just because we're in tech world doesn't mean everybody is equally comfortable with everything we're bringing in, right? Honor the breaks. Do not tell people we're coming back in 10 minutes. Everybody's going to forget that. Some people are going to come back in 20. Say we're coming back at 10:45 a.m. Eastern time, which is especially important when your team is in various time zones. And then you drop it into your chat so that it stays there. And when the person who missed the announcement comes back to the computer, they see when they're supposed to come back. Breakout rooms are super, super powerful. If you can switch up the pace and do main room, then breakouts, then main room again, then breaks out again, it's an awesome, awesome tool. You can brainstorm in small groups and then come back to the large group. When you give instructions in the main room, drop them into chat, because guess what? The chat is going to follow people into breakouts. Don't presume that just because you said something once, everybody heard you, everybody understood you. Give instructions verbally, give instructions in writing, put it on the slide, put it in the chat. Zoom world, we already touched on some of it. I want to honor the question that was asked earlier. How do I engage my quiet meeting participants? So this is asked a ton. First thing I like to touch on is the fact that putting a label on someone is not helpful, right? I hear people actually saying to somebody's face, "You're such an introvert, you never participate." So after that, the person totally shuts down, right? And extrovert is actually a spectrum. It's a continuum and it's a preference, right? Um, we have a preference for introversion or extroversion, but it should never be a label. So the biggest answer here is, how do you create a good environment for people to engage in? If I come to your meeting, would I want to engage, right? What does it mean? Sometimes two or three loud voices dominate the conversation, so that the more reflective, more introspective types, quiet, so-called quiet types, they just don't want to fight with those two or three loud voices. It's my job as a facilitator to say, hey, let's make sure that everybody is heard. I have noticed that people are continuing to contribute multiple times, even though we set a ground rule that we do not speak for the second time before everybody had a chance to contribute. I've done this yesterday. And you know what? No matter how many times you do it, it's amazing how powerful it is. I was facilitating a meeting yesterday, and several people were not contributing. And the moment I created the space for them to contribute, and the moment I specifically invited them to contribute, they had beautiful, brilliant ideas. And it would be such a shame if we didn't get to hear that. But it was my job to tell the over enthusiastic people, hey, this was awesome. I appreciate your enthusiasm. Let's hear from everybody. And of course, you do it gently, you do it diplomatically. Another interesting aspect is that some people do not like to speak, but they're super happy to contribute in writing. You can also say, hey, if you wish, you can send me your ideas in writing before meeting, during meeting, after meeting. Some people are not comfortable sharing ideas in public, so they would actually send me ideas as a private message on Zoom, and I would read it to the group. So be very flexible, help people to be comfortable. Did I answer this question? I think it was Carla who asked it. Create a safe environment for everyone to contribute.